Hey, good morning, everyone. How are you today? Beautiful Wednesday. CPI numbers 9%. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Couple of, well, first here, let's go look at everything. Yesterday, we closed back below the T-line on the SPY. Really just a lot of sideways movement. So far today, really that's all I see too, is just more chop. We haven't broke down anything yet. But I'm not saying we're not going to. I suspect we are. Right in here, this would give some kind of support right here, about 370.65. I would be surprised if that actually held. But so far, just a bunch of sideways noise here. 1,000 period moving average. It's still there. It hasn't moved, and I still think we're going to get it sooner or later. So bring it on down. Come on down here. What else do we have? Can't think of anything. Let's just look at some charts. So I've got some all longs here, believe it or not. But let's start with QID. If somebody is looking to short the Qs, but you can't short the Qs for whatever reason, or if you don't like to actually short, or you don't know how to short, not to worry. Charts like this right here, QID, this is the same thing as shorting the Qs. You're just trading it long. You would want it to meet all the long requirements of any long chart. It's just the inverse of the Qs. So this is a great tool to short the Qs if you don't want to actually short the Qs. You can see how that 50 period moving average is running right up here. You can see this blue line right there, 500 period moving average, that we are trying to negotiate our way through it. It's tried a little bit here and it had to come back, tried again and had to come back. Looks like it's trying again. Let's keep an eye on this. This could be a nice little swing to the upside. Let's take this chart and turn it into, say, a weekly chart. The purpose of the weekly chart, well, let's go back here. My purpose of the weekly chart is not to necessarily look at the weekly chart. My purpose of the chart is to just step back. Good morning, Julie. Step back and take a look at the chart. So get further away from it so you get just a bigger picture. And it just paints a completely different picture down here. I think this chart paints a way more bullish picture than this right here, because this is all you can see. And here you see the chop, the rips to the upside, the pullbacks, rips, pullbacks, you see that chop there. But if you step back, you see a much cleaner, much clearer view of what the future might bring right here. It's a great trading tool. If somebody, like I say, if you find yourself that you want to short or can't short, well, you know what I mean here. This is a great one to do this with. We've got a nice little bottom in here. We've went from a low to some highs that broke out over the 50 period moving average, pulled back below, and now I think we're well over that 50 on the weekly, and we're doing a fantastic job of a trend here. We've got a nice Fig Newton chart pattern setting up here, current 3 bars. It would be pretty clear, again, based on just typical trading along, it would be pretty clear that we need to get above 28.67. I'm not saying that this is not a trade here. It is. So what if we did this? Just utilizing the T-line, and all I'm going to do is put a line here at the bottom of the T-line, just kind of skirt that bottom a little bit. This could be a buy area, the breakout, a buy area, and here's the dotted deuce up here for a target, which happens to match up to whatever date this is, uh, November 2020. And this, if we put a little line or a box right in there, you can see that you've got uh, almost 37% up here to the dotted deuce, giving a wonderful playground. And as long as we can hold this trend in here, I see this as a buy right in here. So fantastic tool to do something like this with. Everything I just said, ditto for SDS, the SPY. Really, there are a lot of people that they don't short. 101 reasons why they don't short. And that's okay. These charts right here is an answer to your prayer if you have one for this. These are fantastic charts to do that with. Look at that trend. Look how it's working. Just like a bullish chart. Once again, we have a target up here at the 200 dotted deuce up here. Might even get a little higher on this one. Just a little bit higher. Beautiful chart to trade. We'll do DXD. So what we've covered is the Qs, the SPY, and the diamonds here. Here's DXD. Same kind of thing. And it's in that ballpark price-wise, well, maybe for some folks, in that ballpark, if you can't, trade, say the diamonds, for instance, as a short, because a little more expensive, this is a way to do it right here. Beautiful chart. All right, now so there's my answer today to the short trades, just looking at the inverse ETFs. Now, one thing I would do is, one, have a list. I've got a list. I'll be glad to share this with everybody here a little later. I've got a list. There's not a lot of stocks on here, a lot of ETFs, but I do have the ETFs. I have some singles, some doubles, and triples. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you really need to go Google it, and you really need to just give a read on ETFs so you have kind of an understanding of them. But just to have a little list here watching those, the inverse ETFs, excuse me, for quick go-to when you need them. Okay, now let's start from the bottom here. How about AJG? Back to the daily. AJG for a long trade. We've crossed over the 50-period moving average. Overall, the trend is up. We've got a nice little pullback here. I think I would certainly be waiting for some positive trading. Is this? Yeah. Wait for some positive trading. I don't think I would jump on the horse just yet. If we put a line right through here, that makes sense for resistance and support. That makes good sense. So above 156.10 or so, might see a trade there. ACDC is another one. ACDC. ACCD. Now I want to go listen to some music. So we've got a nice trend to the upside. This chart is rolling up with a classic, I mean just beautiful low to a high to a higher low to a higher high to a higher low to a higher high to a higher low. This chart, even if it's not ever traded by somebody, I think this chart needs to be printed out, pinned to your wall. I'm not joking about that, by the way. Pin it to your wall and study it. Look at it. Look how that thing broke out of a base, and look how it's just a perfect higher highs and higher lows right up the chain here. Right up the chain. This still looks like a buy. Watch for the most opportune time to buy. The difference, or the most opportune to buy, say between me and Brett there, could be two different things, but I'll bet you $100 bill we're both looking in this area right here. All right already. Let me turn this thing off. There we go. So, bet you $100 bill we're both looking in this area right here. Down here would be an entry, in the middle would be an entry, here would be an entry. we can talk about that more today, I guess. Apple. Apple is still setting up, I think, pulling back a little bit with the CPI numbers today. If I take a look at Apple right now, all I see is a little sideways box being made. We may pull back a little closer to trend here to set up. I like Apple. One, because it's Apple. Another reason, because it is in fact trending. I don't care how much you hate Apple or whatever, it is trending. I like Apple because it's got a low, a high, higher low, higher high, and a higher low. I'm not saying Apple is a buy right now, but I'm certainly not going to put Apple in the trash can until I need to put it in the trash can. Right now, it's trying to set up, and I'll wait for the most opportune time to buy it. LCID. This is another one of those charts that I think is acting absolutely fantastic with higher lows, crossing over the 50-period moving average. We talked about this week, a little bit last week, how important this 50-period moving average is. I don't think I can state enough how important it is right now. I even surprise myself. I'm I'm serious. I look at charts and I can just the 50-period moving average right now just eeks of importance with a whole lot of charts right now, and I think we really need to pay attention to it, and well, just pay attention to it. So here we are moving up, and now we've got a little pullback. Watch for the buy signal. What might be the buy signal? Well, let's see. Some folks, it might already be there. Other folks are going to wait for a candle like this. Other folks might wait for a breakout here. Bottom line, we're all going to be shopping, for those that are interested in this one, in this area. MU. I talked about MU yesterday, and I think MU, I like MU on the watch list a lot. I'm not interested in buying MU just yet. I don't think it's quite prime time to be bought, but I sure like what MU is doing as far as a chart pattern goes. Now, we touched on this earlier this week maybe, that take inverted head and shoulders. These are not buy signals, these are reversal patterns. Big difference, okay? Massive difference. I'm not saying you can't buy that, you can. But what this is a reversal pattern. So what we need to do is we need to, one, make sure it's going to reverse. This, by the way, is not the trade. If this is the trade, think bigger. Think broader if this is your trade. If this is what you're focused on, think broader. Your trading will improve. So being a reversal pattern, let it reverse. Let it do its job. Let it do its job. You've got a mountain full of resistance right here. From here to here, let it do the work. Don't get in its way. Let it work. Once it breaks through this resistance with this reversal pattern, not a buy signal, a reversal pattern, let it get up here. Now we can get into the business of buying and making money. CPNG, I posted this one out on the app yesterday, out to the members. I still like it. Today we've got a little bit of a, oh, I don't know, bad attitude, bad hair day. We just had 9.1% CPI number. Yeah, everything's going to have a bad hair day. So let's just get over it. Let's let it happen. Let it do its thing. And then let's just see what the market does after everything settles down. So this chart is still doing what we might want it to do. For instance, a trend here. I'm going to also put another line from here. Grab that little doji there so you can see how that trend is working. We may absolutely need to pull back a little bit more. The chart is set up and poised to move higher. We just need to wait for the right time to buy it. Space is another one. I like what Space is doing. We've got higher lows. We've popped up over the 50-period moving average. We're just consolidating. That's all. In my opinion, probably the best time to look at this to buy that is on a breakout. Let it do its thing here. Let it rock and roll. Look at all that resistance. When it clears that resistance, then you might have that next leg to the upside. MVIS, last one, another one we had on the watch list, or we talked about yesterday. Once again, we've got that trend in there, and once again, we have those highs and lows all doing what they're supposed to be doing right in here. We just have to wait for the proper time to enter. So what's the proper time? We'll talk about that in the trading room. If anybody asks what's the proper time, well, let's talk about it, okay? So if you're especially if you're new, if you've been here a while, you know. But I won't assume that, so don't be afraid to ask. If you're new here, don't just sit on your hands. Don't just twiddle your thumbs and think magic is going to come rolling out and hit you in the forehead or the tail end. Ask questions. If you're not sure about an entry or something, please, we'll talk about it. All right. Okay, everyone have a fantastic, fantastic day. I'm going to get this recording rendered, and we'll see everybody here, wow, in about 25 minutes. You guys all take care. Thanks. See you in a minute. Well, 25 of them. Later.